This is Plastic Adventures.
Hey everybody, it is Steve. I am joined by Doug, and we are with the Plastic Adventures toy community. You are smack dab in the middle of another episode of Plastic Bitch Sharing Time, where we talk about all the cool stuff that we found or that's come our way. Um, Sometimes you got dry weeks, and then when it rains, it pours. So
Yeah.
uh, the last time that we did this, we had Josh on, and Steve had a big fat boom to share. But I do have some pretty neat stuff, and I think that Doug's hooked up a few cool things. So why don't you lead us off, Doug?
All
Show us
right.
something cool that you got.
So I've got new to me stuff, not like
Right.
new toys. But I'll start off with some really ones I think are pretty fun. So I got Heat Viper 93. Come on. I
Uh-huh.
love the neon on this guy. He's
I know you do, and that's like the
Nothing
thing that
screams
stops
90
me.
like this guy.
But hey, GI Joe resurged. Like they hit with all that Battle Core stuff and the neon, and it just like blew right back up again for a few years. It was a nice, what would you call that? Like an encore to GI Joe
Yeah.
when you thought you were in the waning years. Yeah.
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 One more go at it. So
Not to mention you can get all those figures for a relatively good price still these days.
they're not bad. They are creeping up. And it all depends on the condition of them, right? You can find some really beat up ones and they're affordable prices. But if you're looking for complete ones, ones with, good paint, good joints, come with all of their accessories and maybe a file card, then you might pay a little bit more, but they're worth it, I think. Especially if you're
Oh,
trying to complete a 90s run like I'm trying to do now.
yeah, I didn't even think about that because they were super accessory heavy. They came with those sprues that were like full of like little knives and pistols and rifles.
Yep.
That's probably a real bear. I didn't keep any of that stuff unless it was super cool.
Yeah,
And even
so
then,
that's
like,
that's the ones I'm looking for when I'm looking for 90s figures. I'm looking for the figure to be in as good a condition as I can find, but complete along with the super big blaster that they came with and all of those the little missiles that shoot and the extra guns that came with them that they'll never be able to carry, all that stuff. So
yeah,
that's what I'm looking for.
the toy gods smiled upon Hasbro and all these other makers when they could start putting spring-loaded projectiles back with toys again. They just
Yeah.
made the missiles 3 inches long, so if you wanted to kill yourself trying to swallow one, like
You'd
you
have to
really have
really
it
work at
coming.
it.
It's natural selection at that point.
Yeah. So then
Yeah.
to keep going with that, I got the
Yeah.
94 Viper.
Oh, which one is this?
The Viper. This is
Oh, that's
the
just
Viper for
Viper,
the
Viper.
94 line.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean he's purple, orange, comes with red weapons, super clashy, right? Like I don't know what they
Yeah,
were thinking when they were doing the color coordination on that one, but hey,
and it
I
looks
think
like
he's great. I think he's beautiful.
he borrowed Julia Roberts' boots from Pretty Woman,
Yeah, I know. They go all the way up.
like thigh highs.
But they're great little figures. They're really good. I mean, and when you've collected all the 80s, you're like, well, I'll just keep going into the 90s, I guess.
No, they had some hits in there. There was some really neat redesigns, as wonky as some of the colors were. Ninja Force wasn't my jam, but
I'm gonna have to
there's a
find those guys now too. Yeah, I know. I
there's
know.
a, there's a couple out there, and it kept Joe alive. Okay, well, I'll tell you. Why don't I share one?
Go for it.
So, these guys here. This
Ah,
is the Street Fighter 2 Guile. I got him off a Big Bad Toy Store. They're doing such a good job. Like they're hyper articulated. They come with a ton of accessories, and now I just got to get a couple more. I think I need like Sagat. Um,
do they come with alternate fists and alternate heads,
they
or
do. Yeah, Guile came with two different heads. He came with closed fists. He came with open fists. He came with a comb so that he
so he
could
can do the?
do the yeah. So yeah, I was happy to add this one. I hadn't seen it out in the wild yet, but
I love his hair.
these guys are just doing such a bang up job. Like there's been a million Street Fighter 2 figures out there, but I never really collected any of those lines. And then, that first wave rolled out with Ryu and Fei Long, and I'm like, man, this stuff is the shiz. Standard pricing for a deluxe 6-inch figure, but unlike some of the other companies who are barely having any accessories, these guys are loaded down and they have like translucent effects for the special moves, um, alternate hands stands,
Mhm.
or like a stand for the special move. I didn't show it, but he
Right.
has a sonic boom accessory, which is that kind of circular thing, and
Right.
there's a translucent stand that plugs into the bottom so you can pose him, like
Dual hand.
this, and you can have that coming away from him is really, really kind of a neat thing. So,
So he's a
thank,
standard 6-inch, right?
yeah, yep, 6-inch figures.
So
Yeah.
those, what are those hanging
Uh,
around like the $25 range,
yeah.
$30 range?
Yeah. About, I think 23 or 24.99, which is like, yesterday's 14.99 and the day
Right.
before's 9.99. So, yeah, great line of figures. You got another one, or do you want me to share another one?
Um, I got one. It's pretty big, so I'll let you go. I'll let you go next.
Okay. All right. Um, this one's not much of a surprise since everybody's getting theirs, but I got mine too. This is the Plasma Pack, the O-Ring Ghostbusters figures.
Looks
And
just like the freaking VHS box.
oh yeah, it's super cool. And the front of it opens up and you can see the figures inside. I'm getting a little bit of glare, but
No,
uh
it looks good.
yeah, they're terrific. And there's little cool little details like Venkman is the only one that doesn't have tucked in boots. Like his
They
pant
go all the
legs
way
are over
down.
the
Yep.
boot. Otherwise, it's essentially the same body that they use, but the head sculpts are really good. It's hard to make out when you look at it through the plastic, but for more in depth, you can go onto YouTube and see 500 reviews. But
Yeah.
I got it a couple of weeks ago when they first started hitting, and I just hadn't gotten around to opening them. I don't know if I will, and I
Are you
don't
going?
know
I was
where.
gonna ask, are you gonna open them, see what they're at, or are you just gonna leave it in the box?
Yeah, I'll probably do. Like it seems like um, it would be pretty easy to put them back into the plastic tray that they come
That
in.
would
So
be
this
one
is,
that I would open
yeah,
and
yeah, just
store
to,
in the
just to
box.
kind of see. Um, but
Those
I,
look fun.
I got all of this back behind me. Where does this go? Like, how does it fit in? It's a little
Just
bit of a
gonna
rough gig there.
wedge it in the
Uh,
middle.
okay, I'll show you the next thing that I got, and it
Right
surprised
on.
me, because when we first heard about this, the two of us absolutely like our hearts sank knowing we'd never get one. But
Oh, you found one.
I got it on Big Bad Toy Store. I paid 5.99 for it.
What? Oh
Yeah,
man, that's awesome.
yeah. I haven't seen one out in the wild. It's part of this series that they call Track Fleet. I'm not a Hot Wheels guy, but like this is a really neat little Optimus Prime for $5. Uh, I mean,
If I ever
well,
saw him in the wild, I would pick him up.
you might still, and they're getting around to it. They're going to do a regular release of just the cab in your standard like $1.25 Hot Wheels range.
Okay.
Uh, so yeah, I don't know that I'll ever see one in the wild because I think they all end up on eBay. But when this was first announced, it was going to be packed in at like 1 in 6 or 2 in 12, and you just knew with those guys that show up and pester all the store employees and dig through all their boxes and make a mess. We just knew we would never find it. But
I
apparently,
know.
it's you know they might have just been packing them into full cases for specialty retail like Entertainment Earth and Big Bad Toy Store, where you buy a case of 12 Optimus Primes. Otherwise, I don't see how they would get away with just charging retail price when they'd have to buy cases and cases of these things to cherry pick it. So it must have been a cool thing um, from Mattel to shoot those
Right.
over like that for specialty. So, and
That's a
they're
that's a
even
good price.
yeah, they're capped out at like 10 to 15 bucks on eBay. So I guess the scalpers didn't get to win this time.
Yes, it's a win.
Yeah, yeah.
Screw
Thank
those
you.
guys.
Thank you.
All
All
right.
right, so
So
you got
okay.
something big. Let's see it, brother. What you
Yeah.
got
All
there?
right. So I'll give you a hint what it could be because this kind of came with it. So I've also been collecting Power of the Force 2. I know that's not a lot of people's jam, but I actually
Hey,
really do like it.
it's
And
okay. It's all right. It reignited the fan base. I was buying the crap out of those things.
but there's something about them because when I was buying them, I loved going to the store looking for them, right? So it has good memories. And I played with them with my kids, so there's a
Yeah.
lot of memories in there with that. So okay, so this guy will be a hint for what I'm going to show you. So I got him along with it.
Oh,
So
and
this is
that's
the
actually a really good figure. He's not all like swollen out of proportion for the
well,
time. That's a
he does got some pretty good biceps on him, but other than that, he's a pretty good Boba Fett. And well, I think this was the first one that they released where he had his side cape and Wookiee braids. So that was a nice detail that they finally gave to the Boba Fett action figure. But he is the pilot of
oh man.
one
Oh, you got it in box? Where'd you come up with this?
Facebook Marketplace. Local seller.
Sometimes.
Uh, and the local seller was a lady. She had it for a good price. I couldn't pass it up. And it's
Well,
complete in box with everything, with all the instructions, with all the inserts. Um,
was she a collector or did she have a kid that collected
well,
or
so her house was pretty full of some stuff. It was pretty cool actually to see. So I think her and her
tell
husband
yeah, tell
collect
me this
stuff.
wasn't like hubby's collection and he's at work today.
Well, it kind of felt like that, but but I think she had permission to sell these things. I think they went through it, and there were things that I know were a couple people showing up as I was there. She's like, "Yeah, just come on upstairs and grab your stuff." So like people buy from them quite a bit, right? They had my name on it, ready for me to come by. So they've got this down to a science, I think.
Great.
So, but I mean, the box is in dang near perfect condition, right? There's no bumps, there's no creases.
Yeah,
It's
that
just
looks great, man.
it's really really good. And so I have a nice little Power of the Force collection going that I've got. I've been, I got the A-Wing, I've got Cloud Car, I've got some other things that I'm like, okay, whenever I find a boxed one for a good amount of money, not like there are some people on eBay that are trying to sell these off as "This Star Wars collection, $200," and you're like, no, dude, that's
Like,
not worth that
brother,
at all.
those figures, I'm sorry, but if you're paying more than $6 or $7 for a carded Power of the Force, then you're
Yeah.
getting took.
So there are a few out there that I understand they're harder to find than others. So if you're trying to find a carded one,
Yeah.
maybe 15 I would go up to if it was one of the harder to find ones. But I'm not. I mean, I'm looking for lots where I can drop $50 down and get 12 to 15 carded figures. That's what
Oh
I'm
yeah.
looking.
Yeah, and that still happens too. I mean,
Absolutely, it does.
if you noticed, like the at the Inland Northwest Toy Show, they just like stopped trying with them. But when we started going, whatever it was, 3 years ago, sometimes you'd find people that were like, "Look at all of this!
Yeah.
Oh, isn't that cool?" And they're $10, $15. And I think that they've just had the starch taken out of them because you'll see like under the table a box of
Boxes of them.
carded figures that's like pushed off to the side, and it's
Yeah.
just like, please adopt. Uh,
But also at the same time, so there's something that I do like about them, and that they are Star Wars pre-sale to Disney. Okay, so this is all Star Wars that was happening with the original trilogy, just going into episode one. So they were heavy into trying to build out their figure base with figures or characters from the expanded universe, right?
yeah,
So we were getting a lot of these other characters and these figures for that we were finally, we were happy to see back then as young collectors. So,
yeah, they did all this EU stuff. I was just thinking when you were mentioning the rarer ones,
mhm.
Thrawn and Mara Jade and Dark Trooper and all those guys.
Yep.
Yeah, so there's still some sought after figures out there. The Darth Vader with the removable helmet and hand, like
Hmm.
some of them that were just super cool, and they got so much better as the line progressed out of that initial wave, and
They
the
really did.
sculpting got better and everything. And to think that they came in dry with this,
Hmm.
like what, 2 years before episode one.
Well,
And
so the first one, I think the first wave of Power of the Force dropped in 96. And it came out of nowhere. People were like, "What? Star Wars figures are on the shelf again? What? What is this?" And they were a little weird to behold, I would say. Like at first, they were in weird positions. They did have a little bit more muscular than you remember seeing them on the screen. But all of that aside, they were still really solid figures. They were good action figures. You can play with them. My kids loved them.
oh,
Uh,
and dude, like they weren't like the original Star Wars figures where you put a blaster in their hand, but it's like cocked to the side.
right.
You know, they could hold it
Yeah, their
forward,
hands
and
were molded to hold the weapons that they had.
the
So, I mean,
lightsabers were cool as hell, translucent plastic with the metallic paint on them. Yeah,
oh, I
yeah.
know. I
So,
remember thinking, oh my gosh, yes, finally, they did something. They did something cool with this. So, Power of the Force, I know it gets a bad rap among a lot of collectors. I am not one of those collectors. I actually do love it. And I love the packaging, and I love the fact that I can go, you know what? There's still something for me out there. I don't have to buy the sequel stuff or the Mandalorian stuff if I don't want it. There is still stuff out there that I'm like, hey, I'm an original trilogy lover till the day that I die, and I'm not going to be ashamed of that. So I'm looking for toys and stuff that come from that era now that I'm really interested in.
well, that's totally cool, man. Like the line had incredible merits. You know, we all kind of bag on it because of some of the goofiness, but it was a product of the time.
Yep.
You know, like the realistic proportions were not happening in the 90s. If anybody can remember G.I. Joe Extreme or any other toy
Oh, I
line that
know.
was out there, Batman, like the dude's like he had like uh, upper arms that were larger than his head. You know, it's
I know.
crazy. So, hey, you
And
know,
then
it
you
product.
think of the Alien line, right?
Uh-huh.
Like they came out, they were just nothing like the characters that you saw in the movie. They were all decked out with these weird weapons and weird clothing choices that you wouldn't put on them. So I mean, but the 90s were a special era, I think. So I'm happy to be getting back into those with Power of the Force.
Yeah. Well, that's a heck of a good score. That's one of the most sought after vehicles out there out of that whole series.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and ain't gonna be seeing Slave One on any more packaging anytime soon. So
No, apparently they put the kibosh on that one, so I'm happy
it's
to
just
get
his
that.
starship now.
No, it's called the Fire Spray or something like that.
Oh,
Yeah, they
all
actually
right then.
anyway, but it's still great. It's a great. I mean, and what was great about the Power of the Force, if people don't know, I mean, for other collectors, I'm sure they know, but for those just tuning in and just now discovering Power of the Force, um, the vehicles that they released in this line were the original Kenner vehicles,
Yeah.
right? They had maybe a little bit of a different paint app or a little bit of a different sticker applications. Maybe some of the accessories that they added to them were a little bit larger, like if they had rotating guns, like on the snow speeder, the guns were a little bit different. So, yeah, it's the same stuff. But I think we got less than a minute, so I got to cut it there. We're done with this plastic sharing, and oh, one more. Good.
Yes.
That's a
If
good
you
one to
know, you
end
know.
on for like 10 seconds.
G1's.
Want something tasty and delicious? Taco Bell, Taco Bell.
I love the one and only original taste of Taco Bell's beefy tostada. They use fresh ground beef, never frozen, cooked in their own famous sauce, real cheddar cheese, and it's made up fresh.
Come taste the one and only taste. Taco Bell. Can't find it any other place. Taco Bell. Come taste the one and only original. Taco Bell.
It is a world transformed, where things are not what they seem. It is the world of the Transformers.
Transformers, more than meets the eye. Autobots wage their battle to destroy the evil forces of the Decepticons. Transformers. Robots in disguise. Transformers, more than meets the eye.
The Transformers from Marvel Comics.
Very soon, the whole world will see the power of Cobra.
G.I. Joe, American hero. G.I. Joe is there.
Now Joe's Force coming at you with more action and more adventure than ever before. Coming at you 5 days a week, fighting for freedom against the evil forces of Cobra. Don't miss it.
Today at 3:30. Come on over where the fun is, TV 53.
All right, everybody, we are back. We're not going to end on that. We are going to let Steve share this one because this one is outrageous, and then we'll go into our toy mill.
This is one I mentioned on the last one that I was waiting to get. If you know, you know. He was extremely yellowed when I got him, and I've gotten most of it out. I don't know how much it picks up here, but it's to a satisfied level. Sometimes you just find yourself at toy traders in Langley, British Columbia, Canada. And like you see one in there and it's yellowed and it's for so cheap you can't pass it up. So I got one.
Amazing.
Yeah, really sweet, dude. It's just one of these ones where like you don't find it with like I'm missing the accessories, right? The gun and the sword.
I was gonna say, does he have a saber? Does he have any of that?
He does not. I will keep my eyes peeled for some repro stuff because it's just so hard to get.
Mm-hmm.
In the condition that I bought him for, you're well over $200, maybe closer to $300 to get one on eBay if one's available. I was less than half of that to bring this guy home.
Man, that's a score. That is a score.
Yeah, and he's authentic. Some of the stickers are a little beat up, and there's some wear, but I mean, this is just one of those ones where I thought to myself, I've watched them, and I wanted to get one. I bought that Masterpiece Star Saber at the Inland Northwest for a really good price, and that's a terrific toy. But man, nothing beats the G1, and he's in such good shape. I'm going to show you an interesting feature on this one if I take him apart. Because I thought it was a little bit clever how they executed this. So let me get
If it's what you're going to show me, I was going to ask about that.
Yeah, so the robot comes out of the middle. Yep, let me see if I can get him to release. There he goes. Okay. So essentially it's a shell like Power Master Optimus Prime, right? Star Saber folds up and goes inside. And what you've got is this robot.
Another smaller
Obviously,
one.
He turns into a jet, like when you fold him up and turn him into a jet. But the arms pop out. Being real careful because this one's kind of old. But yep, I'm not going to mess too much with this and risk breaking it. But the fists folded out of the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it's kind of cool that he had a full range of articulation at the shoulders. Too scared.
But I love how he looks. I love the blocky.
Yeah. Here's what's kind of interesting to me. I'm going to take his chest piece down here.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and the smaller inside of another smaller guy.
Yes, but watch what happens when you fold this up. So you put the little guy in.
What? Transformer magic.
How cool is that? Like it pushes up the faceplate. You open him up and it's just a simple lever. But
Transformer magic, dude. That's awesome.
Yeah. How cool is that? Like I don't remember what they were called, like Brain Masters or something when these came out. But the little guy comes out.
Oh.
Let me get him out. So yeah, here's a shell. He's like a triple decker. So you got this little guy that's inside of there. And the gimmick is when the bottom pushes up,
then the rest of his head pops up.
Yeah, the robot head comes up. So and you know what? This articulates forward so he can sit down in the cockpit of the jet.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah. So really, really, really neat figure. I love all of this. And that whoop, there it is.
I know. It's the little things that make us happy, isn't it?
It really is. It really is. So that gimmick in place, and then Star Saber Henshin. Then it folds up and pops in like Power Master Optimus Prime style. But
Oh, that's so cool, man.
I could not have been happier to find this, man. I was so excited. Uh, Originally, I just said, I'm going to go up there because I haven't been in Toys R Us for a while, and they've still got one, and they sell all the
Oh,
Hasbro exclusives up there, like from the stuff that goes to specialty retailers like Big Bad and
and
Hasbro Pulse. They
Entertainment.
sell them right in the store.
Oh,
Uh,
lucky guys.
yeah, I'll tell you what. If you ever get up to these parts, bring your passport. We'll go up there. It takes about 50 minutes to get there. Um,
I want to
but
go. I don't think I'm going to be able to make it this year because I've got other trips planned that are going to be lucrative, I think.
well, you know what? That's totally fine. Totally fine. It'll be waiting whenever
But I do
you're
want to go.
ready for it. So yeah, it pops back in. There is one other kind of a cool gimmick here. Let me see if the camera will pick this up.
Yeah. His head goes right over the other one. Yeah, look at that.
The faceplate is on a spring
Pops
and
down.
it pops down. Yeah. Yeah.
Man, they thought of everything on that guy.
They did. Yeah. Nice piece of engineering from like late 90s Hasbro there. So
Beautiful. Oh, gorgeous.
yeah,
gorgeous.
if you're up here, if anybody is in Pacific Northwest and you can get to Toy Traders in Langley, there's almost always something cool to be got up there. But I certainly didn't expect that. I was hoping maybe to walk away with one or two cool little things. And when we went up there for our anniversary to Vancouver Island, I had the treat of Coca-Cola flavored with maple syrup.
Oh,
Dude, it
is that good?
so good. And I thought, man, if I can just find more of that stuff, I think we got it at a Walmart up here. And if I can just find some, I want to bring some back home. It was so good. I didn't, but hey, nice consolation prize.
That
Walking
doesn't sound
away
like
with,
something I can make at home, though. I don't think if I tried it, I don't think it would turn out as good.
Yeah, I don't know. I put some maple syrup into a Diet Pepsi and it didn't go well. So it's almost like they took some of the cane sugar out and supplemented with a regular like standard maple syrup. But it's so smooth. It tastes like kind of like a vanilla Coke. But
Oh, man.
and then I got to thinking like, what's this going to taste like if I put something else in it? It tastes like relaxation.
An adult.
Oh yeah,
drink.
that was it. Star Saber, super excited to have found that one. I mean, you can just check off one of those like super obscure things that you've always wanted to get. I'll never ever find an Ertl Magnum PI. I'll never ever get
Oh,
a
never say
Mego,
never. Nope. No. I've learned. Never say never.
Mego Greatest American Hero figure. I'll probably never get one of those, but
Never say
Star
never.
Saber,
You might get it on your deathbed,
check.
but you'll get it.
At that point, though, I'll have to take out a loan against the house to get it. So, well, if I die, it's not my problem.
Right. Right on. No, that was really cool. Yeah, that's definitely a bucket list item for sure.
Yeah, I was super excited to have it. So thanks for giving me an extra little segment to show off because it was really cool.
Yeah, we couldn't end with a clip of you just barely showing it and not saying how cool it was. So, all right. So with that done, that was our plastic bits, and we're just going to jump right into the toy mill and start sharing some news.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Toy Mill time. It's been a couple weeks since we had Joshua Sky on, which was a terrific visit. We were happy to have him. There hasn't been a explosive amount of information that's come out, but there's been a couple of really cool tidbits that have kind
There
of
has
filtered through there. Yeah, like Hasbro showed off a bunch of new Transformers product. I think they call it Age of the Primes.
They did. Yep.
Yeah. Yep, and there's been some other things that have kind of filtered out. That's not what has me most excited. But how about you? Is there what kind of gets you jazzed out there?
Yeah, so there was one piece that the overseers at Hasbro decided to grace us with. We, you and I, and most of the other collectors out there absolutely love retro, and whenever we get any, it's always a treat. But they're finally doing what they were like giving us a little bit with each release. So Star Wars has announced a pipeline reveals for their new retro figures. And in the past, whenever they would give us a wave, they would give us one figure that had never been made before in the Kenner retro style. And so that was the chase figure that everybody was looking for, right? Well, now they decided to give us a wave that was nothing but chase figures that everybody has wanted since the Kenner line went done with, right?
Oh yeah, I knew this would be top on your list, man, and I'm 100% there with you. That's my favorite piece of news that's come out is the new retro, line of six figures.
Yep.
And you're right. We got that Grand Moff Tarkin that was kind of a special thing, and we got a Snowspeeder Luke.
And then we got Mon Mothma.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden Hasbro's like, "Oh, you like that, huh? Oh, why don't you have a Sand Trooper, Walrusman, Dr. Evazan, and Luke in the Ceremony, Han Stormtrooper, and Rebel Troopers."
And Rebel Trooper, finally!
Yes. Yes.
I know.
And shout out to Jedi Temple Toys, a local guy up here who does a bunch of customs. Brother, I'm sorry you made all of them, but now Hasbro's giving them to you. So I guess.
Yeah. I mean, there have been makers, like you said, customizers who have created these figures from scratch, even, who are great 3D sculptors and have made these available online for people to print on their own and to paint. But there's nothing like getting the figure on the card, right? And to add it to your collection. So seriously, when this was announced, and I'm like, 6 new retro figures, ones that we've never seen before, like that gets you jazzed as a collector, right? That's what reinvigorates you.
Like everybody has wanted a Han in Stormtrooper disguise since Luke in Stormtrooper disguise from what is it, the final 17 or whatever they call that, that last line that had the Luke. And we got a Kellogg's mail away in the 90s with that Han Solo in Stormtrooper gear, and we've had them since, but holy cow, dude.
But not an official one in the retro Kenner style.
Nope, and it's going to come on that pretty neat looking card with the big ugly red stickers that come off pretty easy if you.
Steve.
Oh,
did you not hear about this?
No.
The retro sticker. So all of the retro series that are now going to be released, the sticker is going to be done in such a way now that collectors can remove the sticker and not hurt the card.
Oh,
they are changing the back of the sticker to be able to be removed. Stevie, I forgot his name on Instagram. He's one of the guys that works on the toy line for these things. And he said, Hasbro heard the collectors and they have decided to make that sticker something that can be removed without hurting the card.
Yeah, I mean, really all they have to do is put something on the back of the packaging.
Yeah.
Or they can, on the figures themselves, they can put a date stamp on there, for the year that it was released, and then anybody worried about not being able to tell the difference between the retros.
Well, the packaging, the way that they do it now, even without the sticker, is easily able to be told the difference between an actual vintage figure and something that's been reissued.
Yeah, I wonder if they're going to keep it up with that like faux shelfware stuff on the outside edges, and
even if they do, that's fine. I know that the biggest complaint though has always been that red sticker. To me, I don't mind the red sticker. I think it's fine. It doesn't do anything. It's neither here nor there for me, but I know that there are a lot of collectors out there who want that red sticker gone. And so
yeah, at one point I had considered removing them, but then I'm defacing the figure for how it was released, and it doesn't kill me to see it. I mean, you can heat it up with a hairdryer and peel it off and use a little bit of lighter fluid to wipe the residue off. I mean, it's not a big deal to get rid of them. But I've never taken them off of mine. But that's really neat that they've decided, because boy, you get them damn near upside down on some of them. It's like just some rando guy putting it on there.
And I don't know if this is hearsay, but it was definitely on that same guy's page. They might be doing something different with the backs as well. I don't know what that means, but maybe they're bringing back a figure picture type of thing on the back of the cards too. Who knows?
Oh man, that would be so rad. That like yellow background where they black some of them out with a marker or like paint. You know what I'm saying?
The old ones like they did with Return of the Jedi. Yeah.
Yeah, because they didn't want to reveal the characters, and they just like,
So
I don't know how they did it. They just obscured it with black, and you couldn't see what the character was. So
I
oh
don't
my
know if
God,
that's
that'd
actually
be
going to
so
be a
cool.
thing, but it would be really cool if it was.
Oh, I would love it. I would love it. I'm not asking for bio cards or anything, man. Just to have it present like those old cards. Oh man, 'Cause when you were a kid, like how long did you
No.
sit there?
Oh, that was the only thing that you looked at. So if you were an idiot and opened the thing in the car on the way home and you lost the accessories in the back seat like most kids did,
Yep.
you only had the figure and the card to look at on the way home. So you'd be looking at the back of that card going, which ones am I going to get next? You know, as the blaster is lost in the seat crevice.
Oh,
But
yeah. Yeah, and like the lightsabers, those skinny little plastic lightsabers that were like less than a toothpick,
yeah.
just gone. Just gone. Like, the Jedi Luke and Luke in the Bespin fatigues, they came with
I
those
know.
little, they looked like a billy club. Or
It
literally the
always looked like a
handle.
stick with a bicycle handle on it. That's what
That's
it reminded me of.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Like hardly any work at all. The little
Yeah.
dot marks on the side. Yeah. Well, that's really sweet, man. I was so excited to see those announced.
I know.
I don't know where they're going to go next, but there's just a plethora that they can release.
Well, if they're not going to give us any more of the figures that are like a re-release and are only going to do new, I'm down with that too. I would love to if after this one they decide to do 6 more of the a retro line, but of characters or of figures that we've never had before. I'm down with that too.
We're missing that Bespin Han Solo, man.
Yeah, that's what I mean. There are still some from the original line that people would love to see reissued. But it's not a bad thing to give us new figures too, especially figures that people want. It's
Oh, yeah.
different when it's new figures nobody wants, but when it's things that people have been asking for decades, it's great to finally get it.
Yeah, and did you feel like the retro stuff was kind of waning a little bit? I mean, we had the releases for Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones.
And those are okay. I didn't get those.
We got
Yeah, I didn't get those. I didn't get the ones for
the last ones I got were the Return of the Jedi ones.
Yeah, I did pick up the Obi-Wan Kenobi and the Darth Vader from the
Ahsoka.
Obi-Wan Kenobi series. And I got the Mandalorians, but I didn't get any of the other ones that were from episode 1 or episode 2 or episode 3 or any of that. I didn't get those ones. Because I think those, even though they're retro
it
style,
turned into a total cherry pick scenario.
Yeah. But I don't know where these ones are going to get released. I'm sure, hopefully, Big Bad Toy Store, Entertainment Earth will get some pre-orders for those as soon as they're announced that they're ready to go. I know that you really hooked me up when you went to Disneyland at one time for that Return of the Jedi stack. So I'm sure they're going to be around and available in some places. So I think we're going to get our chance to get them.
Yeah, I was really surprised. I went into my Target multiple times, and they had the that episode 1 figure assortment there. I wanted Qui-Gon, that was the one, but I wasn't willing to pay $60 to get just the one retro. So, they finally sold through them. I think they went on sale for like $40 for the.
Oh,
for
that's
the set.
actually not a bad price. So.
Yeah. So yeah, I think this will probably. I think it's going to probably kind of reignite and re-engage the collectors in it, but they'll be smart.
So.
They'll offer enough for everybody to have them. But
yep.
Yeah, 100% excited about that series of retros coming. I
got another one.
Okay, yeah, let's hear it.
Well, actually, it's news to me. You broke it to me. I did not know that this was coming. But I saw it on your Facebook page, and I'm like, "What? Are you serious?" So I went out to check it, and I think it's legit. The Law and Order leak for the Classified series for G.I. Joe Classified.
Yeah, I'll tell you, if that's not legit, it's a pretty freaking convincing fake.
It's a really good one.
Oh man, what a welcome addition with Law and Order. I mean, that was one of my very favorite figures when I was a kid. I loved the colors, and he came with an Uzi, like the most impractical kind of
Watchman's
than for a
guards
Joe
gun.
to have, but I just for some reason really loved him when I was a kid. And the animal companion, the helmet, all that cool stuff. So it's looking so freaking good. Like
I know.
it's almost like they didn't really have to do much to the design of the figure. Like they've just been skewing so much more back to real American hero and less like, neo future kind of military thing that they try to do.
Mhm.
Man, looks so good. And I've recently seen Road Pig, and I saw, the other ones out there with the animal companions, but it was about time. I wonder if we're gonna get Spearhead and Max or Dusty and Sandstorm.
So I actually Spearhead Max was one of my favorites as a kid. I know it was towards the end of collecting some of them for me. He was, but I don't know what it was about his brown and his bright orange and that Bobcat, and the fact that he came with whatever
That
that
machete
Greek,
thing and the
well,
weird
the
looking
Greek
machine
sword. He
gun.
came with like a Greek sword and like this big gun with the bayonet at the end of it. I mean, it was a great figure. I would really love to see that one in 6 inch. But for Law and Order specifically, for the ones that the pictures that you released, so they are upgrading a little bit, not enough that he looks drastically different from his American hero, but it is enough that he looks modern enough that he's a great figure. So especially for Order, um, the dog that they're giving him is like a canine, like they did it with Mutton Junkyard a little bit,
Uh-huh.
but with this one they're giving Order a bit more detail on the canine unit, right? So he has an alternate head, which has a mask, which has the dog safety goggles on it, and he
Oh,
also has
cool.
an alternate head with the German Shepherd, with the regular German Shepherd. It looks like he has an accessory that attaches to his harness as well. So I think he's Law is not just the only one getting an upgrade. I think Order is too. So
Yeah. So if we're seeing it now, it's probably 3 months out, something like that, before they start hitting the shelves. But I think that's a really sought after one. And I was giving some thought to the goofy ones that they do that still turn out like awesome.
like Raptor.
Yeah, 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 like Raptor, like Ninja Force. Anyways, if we get them knocked out now, we don't got to see them later. So I mean, like, I guess there's,
But come on, you
in the
got to
same,
admit that even the goofy ones that were pretty goofy back then, they're not so goofy now.
no,
They've given them
no,
a
they're
great
taking
facelift.
like the most absurd characters and just like making them so incredibly badass. So yeah, yeah. I mean, at least I don't got to see Raptor later. I mean, get Voltar out of there because he was a peg warmer. I mean, they showed the crystal ball prototype, so like get him out of
Yeah.
there too. Uh,
I
give
bet
us
even he's going to be a pretty cool looking figure. So
he'll be great. Yeah, he'll be fine. Um, you know what I almost feel like is a lot of the releases that they've been doing are just one or two steps away from being able to be slightly recolored and stuck on a retro card.
sure, yeah,
Do you think that that's maybe something that they're keeping in mind when they're designing these guys?
I
That
definitely do. I definitely do. And I think that they're like, okay, well, if we give this one this kind of accessory now, if we re-release them as a retro, we can give them a different vest that's closer to the retro to the vintage style, and we can put them on a retro card, and people will buy it. I think so, and I think that's a good business plan.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, with just a few little changes, or they take an accessory or two out, like Doc or Grunt.
Mhm.
Grunt with all that extra gear and stuff that he comes with. I mean, you could
Yeah,
almost
they take that off and give him the harness that he excuse me that Stalker came with.
yeah,
He would look perfect.
yeah, you could put it on a retro card and get another release out of the figure and the tooling. So,
Yep.
kind of a smart deal there. Um, I wanted to bring one up that I really liked, and it's really kind of obscure, and I don't know who buys them, but Figma is doing a really, really good Solid Snake from Metal Gear Solid 2.
Oh
Uh,
yes, I did hear about that one.
yeah, it looks really great. I want to say these things are if they hit retail here through like a Target or a Walmart, then you're spending about 30 or 35 bucks on them.
Hmm.
They're typically in like a 5.5 or 6 inch scale. They're very, very detailed and they do a great job. I really wish they would do a Solid Snake version 1 because I got to thinking about how cool. Like, do you remember his outfit with that cool like body armor, the form
Yes.
fit, and the elbow pads, and he had that cool headband and everything. The pistol with the laser sight thing and the silencer, the long silencer on it.
Who
I would
knows?
love
We
a
might.
classified Solid Snake. I mean, what a great GI Joe design that would be. But
Right.
I wanted to make sure that I just at least got that out there for the the twos and threes of people who watch our show. Um, if you have any Metal Gear Solid love in you, go check it out because it's a tremendous figure, and that's coming from a guy who usually only talks about like the big five.
Right.
Um,
No, I did see pictures of what it is. Jeff Lincoln is a huge Metal Gear Solid fan. So
well,
that's
then
on the list.
yeah, he would super appreciate this figure. It's great.
Yeah.
And while I pine away for a Solid Snake version 1, I had a McFarlane Solid Snake for a while. I ended up selling it. Those came out in like 2000 or something.
Yeah.
But if they came out with a highly articulated one, I think I just have to get it based on the coolness of the design. Um, okay, so while we're talking about McFarlane,
Hmm.
I'm so conflicted about that Chris Reeve Superman because some pictures look god awful, and then they released some, and then you think that they're kind of okay. Have you seen the latest round of pictures for that?
No, I haven't. Did they give him a new head?
It's not completely new, but I'm just and for me, I bought the latest Superman, whatever you call it, like the Platinum Edition that Walmart
Oh,
had, and
the
Lincoln
gold
got
label?
one too. And I put my Chris Reeve head sculpt on it, and it looks really good. I do kind of like what they did with the body for it, so it could be a thing where I am spending more money to get a Chris Reeve Superman and discarding the head.
I mean, if I saw him at Walmart on the shelf, I would probably buy him, yes.
Yeah,
But
so
there's something about that head that is just not, it's not Christopher Reeve. And I know
but
that they tried,
in
but
some angles it looks good, and some you can't see it. It might be the plastic that they've used on it because it looks a little translucent to me.
Mhm.
Marion from the Indiana Jones Black Series figures or whatever you want to call them, that scale, the 6 inch, the Marvel Legends.
Mhm.
That figure looks so poor when you try to take a picture of it, but when you hold it in your hand, the likeness is so good to Karen
Right.
Allen. So I'm wondering if it's a thing where like when you get it in person, you're like, oh shit, they did a really good job on this. Same
But the
with like
camera just
Indy.
doesn't do it justice, maybe.
But yeah, they're taking these pictures of it, or the light is so bright, and you're losing some detail on the translucent plastic flesh tone
Mhm.
stuff. But so I don't know. The latest round came out. He does come with 2 head sculpts, and I'm gonna tell you, number 2 is irredeemable. The frowning, because
Number
he
two
looks like
really is number two, huh?
he looks like the effing Grinch. Like that's what the figure looks like. That I don't know. I love you, Todd McFarlane Toys, but I don't know what intern did the number 2 face sculpt, but boy, that one's rough.
Yeah,
The
I know.
frowning face sculpt, but number 1
But the
is
body
still
sculpt is
TBD.
right. I think you're right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna probably be stuck buying another one for the body, but we'll see.
Hey,
Uh,
on a Superman, um, I know it's not toys, but I think eventually it will lead to toys.
mhm.
Um, but at the time that we're recording this, who knows when you'll be watching it, but tomorrow is the James Gunn Superman movie teaser that's coming out. So we finally get to see what this Superman is actually going to look like, hopefully in motion. They may not give us a real good glimpse of him. It might be just, here and there because they want to kind of keep the surprise. But um, it's kind of a movie I think that some people have been really looking forward to.
Yeah, like how bad is it that you look at Henry Cavill's Superman and think that he's like the ultimate Superman?
Hmm.
He didn't behave like Superman. Now, did he do a good job with what he was given? Of course he did, and he worked hard. And like the guy gave up smoking and he got into bodybuilding and all this shit because he loved Superman so much. And he had such respect for the character and was so excited to play it. So I don't fault him, but like, how could you? It's like watching the new Transformers movies and you're trying to believe that you're watching Optimus Prime as he's like tearing other people's faces off and tearing their hearts out. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't, it's not like, it's not the Superman that we need right now. So I'm super jacked about David Corenswet and what he's going to be doing. And I had read, we'll see what happens, but I've read that there are certain musical cues in the movie that are taken from John Williams.
Oh, good. I also read that this is going to be to try to go back to the optimistic Superman.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to it. And eventually it'll lead to toys too. So
McFarlane will knock it out of the park and
Yep.
you know, they'll do a great job on the new figures. You know, very rarely do they slip, and it's only like just little tiny small complaint things, but no, I'm super excited to see that trailer tomorrow. I'll probably, you know, 6:30 in the morning when I'm pouring coffee, turn it on and give it a look and see what's happening there.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't care that he wears his underwear on the outside of his pants. I don't care that.
I prefer it. Sorry, that's my Superman.
Oh, and you want to know who rallied for that? David Corenswet.
I know he did. Yeah, I was going to say
the actor rallied for the underwear on the outside, and he cited that you know, Superman dresses like a professional wrestler or whatever. He said that.
He said they're supposed to be colorful. They're supposed to be outrageous because they're superheroes.
Yeah, and it needs to be somebody that you know you think you can trust. And now, if other people, you know, like if I came to work with my underwear on the outside, that might not work out very well for me. But you know, I don't.
Yeah, but you're not able to leap over a building in a single bound, right? You can't deflect bullets, so
I can barely
you
leap
could
over.
Do that. You could wear the underwear outside. Nobody's going to care.
Yeah, I can barely leap over a rain puddle here without hurting my back. So we're not going to be doing that. Yeah, but no, I'm excited. I really want to see it. That does kind of take me into my last little piece of news I was going to talk about.
Okay.
And I was kind of wondering how long it was going to take before it happened. But just today, they broke news on a couple of new Batman figure releases from McFarlane. Because, like, you know, the law says that 70% of the line has to be Batman. And we're getting a really, really good Batman, Batman Begins Batman.
Oh, Christian Bale?
Yeah. But we're getting the 89 Keaton Batman on card.
Ooh.
So you don't have to buy the Batmobile, even if it's only down to $59 now on Amazon.
So they're finally going to give us a boxed Batman Michael Keaton one.
Yeah, you don't have to track down the 6-pack and pay $200 for that had all the different versions. So it looks really, really, really good, and it is essentially the same figure, but it's got a bunch of extra accessories.
Oh, good.
So he comes with a Batarang. He comes with a cloth goods cape. And, you know, I got that really giant Batman that NECA did. And he had those things that looked like billy clubs and the really long little pins.
Yeah.
So you could stick it in the cape, raise
up. Is this one going to have it?
This figure comes with those things to be
do
able
that. That's cool.
That Batman cape thing. So
all right, that's cool.
They didn't do anything to address the fact that it's very obvious that the head can turn. You know, I was kind of wishing that they would replace that with a solid piece. Maybe capable of a little up and down or something, but, you know, we're not buying that figure so we can, you know, rotate his neck and do all that. But, hey, it's still a really good figure, and it's one of these platinum releases that you know, you should be able to see at a Walmart or a Target or something.
Oh, I hope so.
Yeah, it looks so good, man. It's great. And for all the people that just got skunked and missed out on the deal, you know, now is going to be your chance to get one. And probably it ain't going to get better than this. You know, they've went back for several of those others that they released in the 6-pack, and they've since reissued and repainted.
Yeah.
The Ben Affleck Batman from The Flash, You know how he appeared in the gray and blue.
Yeah, he's on now. Yep.
Yeah,
I saw
yeah,
him the other day at Target.
Yeah, that's actually a really good figure. I can't get myself to bite on it. And then, I think that was just one of these things where it was changed in post.
Mhm.
McFarlane was well into it. Why we got the weird, black and gray one that we never saw in the movie. But
Yeah.
I mean, they're really good about kind of coming back later and picking some of that up. The Batmans from the lesser popular '90s Batman movies. You know,
So
Clooney
I
and
will tell you,
Kilmer.
I've seen the Clooney Batman at least 3 times, and I passed on him every time.
Yeah, can't do it.
I can't do it. I can't
Yeah,
do
me
it.
either. Neither that. I can't do the Kilmer one either. I
Oh, if
can't.
the Kilmer one, I would do in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. I
I'll keep
love
my
the
eyeballs
Kilmer Batman.
peeled. I know I've seen it several times. So
I have not seen him yet. All I've seen is the Clooney Batman. But yeah, that would be cool. When are they
did
going to release these? The
I
Christian
think it's
Bale
probably going to see release within about the next 2 months.
Okay, cool.
Because at this point they're showing off carded samples, and it was just like that Superman that Walmart got. Dude, I saw carded samples on Toy News I, and then a week later I was in Walmart and saw it on the shelf.
Yeah, when Jeff got his, like, I don't know, like 5 weeks ago, I was like, "Oh, really? They're already on the shelf? Wow."
Yeah. Yeah, and that one
Yeah.
had me super amped, and I'm like, oh, I can't wait when that goes on pre-order on Big Bad. I'm gonna get one there, and just to make sure I can get one. No need. I was just shopping, and it's easier when I don't have company because I don't have to justify the purchase. But at this point, it just went in the cart with no arguing. So,
Right on.
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah, I'm
that
definitely
was
looking forward to that Keaton Batman. So I'll keep my eyes peeled here. You keep your eyes peeled there, because that's one that's on the list.
yeah. If I see one, I'll grab it for you. I'm plenty happy with the one that came with the Batmobile, but all those little deluxe extras are really really neat that this carded release comes with.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. So you got anything else there?
No, I think that was it.
Great.
Like you said, pretty slow news, but the news that is out is actually pretty good to talk about. So,
Yeah,
um,
yeah, and we got the holiday coming up, so we'll probably be on a little hiatus or break once again. But uh, oh, I don't know what it is about mid-January toward the end, then stuff starts to just like explode again.
I
We'll have
know.
all
Yeah.
kinds of news coming up from the cons, and so we'll excitedly share that with all of you out there.
Yeah, coming up on a new year, so a new year means new opportunities to find toys. Really looking forward to our next trip to Spokane for the Inland Northwest Toy Show, which we always do every year. But there's some other things that are going to be happening this year too that I'm going to have the opportunity to go back to. So I'll be looking for some stuff on those things as well. So I'm looking forward to a new year with some pretty cool finds.
Yeah, yeah. So, hey, you know what? Where do they find you, Doug? Over on Instagram?
They can find me on Instagram at the Toyman80s.
Yep.
The underscore toy underscore man 80s. You know how to do that. So yeah, find me over there. And where do they find you on Facebook?
They find me on Facebook with the dinosaurs, the Plastic Adventures toy community. And hey, if we got any of the local peeps watching, get engaged with the Tri Cities Toy Collector group.
Yes, please.
Jared's spearheading that thing over there, and this whole thing started as a way to try and get our local community to engage. So, check out Jared's Facebook page over there too, and share and engage with him. So
Yep.
you know what? If we don't get a like, a subscription, a comment, or otherwise, we'll just plan on seeing you guys out in the toy aisle.
Yes, we will.